I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And a happy Sunday fun day to everybody out there. Scott Duff here along with Ellen Miller.
Good morning, Scott Duff.
Good morning, Ellen Miller. The world is awful.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Oof.
A new low.
It's just, wow.
The bar keeps going lower.
The ball, yeah. We're just going to be tripping over that bar. Aren't
Yeah, we are.
Why raise the bar? Why? We're just going to trip right on over it. There we go. Yeah, but hey, it's International Women's History Month.
Yes, it is.
It is, and
It just
today
began.
we've got things women, and we've got things international today on the show. Ruth Clark from the Artemis Singers, Chicago's lesbian feminist chorus, is going to be joining us ahead of their free concert on March 9th at the Lincolnwood Library. It's going to be having that conversation a little bit later on this hour. And in the new documentary, The Revolutionary Housing League, which is in its final stages of editing, filmmaker Leo Monts takes a look at the housing crisis in Ireland and how it might be paralleling up with the housing situation here in Chicago. So he's going to be joining us in the second hour. And comedian Amy Sumter is one half of the dynamic comedy producing duo of the show, The Kates. Amy's going to be live in studio with us. We always love that. The next edition of The Kates Monthly Comedy Showcase at the Lincoln Lodge is coming up on March 7th. And if you've never seen them, you gotta go. It's so fun. I love, they put on the best show of like very diverse femme voices.
Well, coming from you. Yeah,
I know, I'm telling you. And I used to be
You're
there.
a
I was
professional.
their official dance captain.
Oh,
for a while.
They had dance as part of their
Oh, yeah,
routine?
there's usually a dance break somewhere in the show.
Do the audience dance with them?
Yeah, the audience dances. But we did that, when the show was at Laugh Factory.
Oh, fun.
I was their dance captain. I'd just come on and
I
just
didn't know.
dance.
I learned something
I'm an
new about you.
award-nominated choreographer.
I guess you are.
Well, no, it's true. It's true. I'm an award-nominated choreographer.
Did you get a joy? What is it?
Choreographer.
Choreographer.
Yeah, when people do dance, they do choreography.
Oh, I didn't know
it's
about that kind.
choreography.
But
Yes.
maybe you do your chores while you're choreographing.
You should, yes. No, mine is just more like point and gesture. But I am an award-nominated choreographer in Memphis, Tennessee. Thank you very much.
did not know.
Thank you very much.
I did not know.
Look, my list of accomplishments is long, runs deep.
Deep, baby.
Yeah. And I don't know, nothing really much happened this week, but we'd love to hear from you. So give us a call at 773-763-9278. That number again is 773-763-9278. Of course, you can find us on live on the Faceplace
Yes,
right
indeed.
now, if it's not buried in a bunch of ads or whatever. So, but head on over to Out Chicago Radio, and if you go there, then you can actually see and hear us and do all this thing and leave us a message and all that stuff and give us a like and a click and a poke and all that, whatever. But that doesn't float your boat. You can listen in on WCPT AM 820. And while you're at it, follow WCPT and Heartland Signal on all of the social
yes.
medias. You can also ask your little smart speaker to say, hey, play WCPT on
Play
TuneIn.
WCPT. That's
On TuneIn, right
hey,
there.
No, I better not say it. People.
Because
that are
somebody
listening.
settled me. Well, it might, if they're listening to it, it's probably already,
That's-
it's not going to be doing anything.
Unless they're watching on Facebook.
That's
and
true.
then the Google machine
oh,
is in
dear
the room.
Lord. That was like when my friend Alexa came over for our
we
big
kept
college
going.
reunion. We kept saying, Alexa, and she was like, what? I'm like, oh, stop it. Yeah.
That's why I got the Google, because I don't have any friends named Google.
Well, you could also change it to computer, which is just so
I
nerdy,
feel like
and I
you're
love that.
in the Twilight Zone.
Or like you're like lost in space. Computer.
Yeah. Computer.
What is the blah, 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 blah,
Compute
blah.
this for me,
Yes,
please.
there we go. So, how are you doing there?
Well,
Yeah, I do know.
it just,
Alas.
I feel like we're moving towards isolationism here in the United States.
Moving towards.
Yeah, moving.
What are you
towards-
talking about? I think they have
Oh,
they
my
have put that
God.
privacy screen up. Like, yeah, it's weird. It's awful.
And listening this morning to the Sunday morning news shows and hearing the spin, putting Zelensky as the bad guy.
Yeah.
Because God forbid that he asked for security before signing the peace deal.
Right.
Signing the mineral deal.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I am disgusted. I am sick. I am not surprised. When I heard Zelensky was coming, I thought bad things were going to happen. I never dreamt it was going to happen as bad as it turned out.
Oh, yeah.
But looking at those people in the room, particularly Vance and Trump and then Marco Rubio just sitting there looking like he was a deer in headlights, it just made me sick to my stomach. And it made Americans that I know who are caring people and care about democracy and care about the war in Ukraine and how these poor people were invaded and their freedoms have been taken, their land has been taken, their children have been taken, their lives have been upended by Putin. And just, it started obviously the week before when he mentioned that, he thought that Zelensky was a dictator and that
he started.
I mean, this is just, it's so obvious what Hillary said back when she was debating him.
Putin's puppet.
Putin's puppet in 2016. He is Putin's puppet. He's saying, and they had a Russian, I understand there was a Russian news in there that were filming it all so they could take it back to their dear leader.
Back to Mother Russia,
It's just, this is where we're at right now. We have a president that is cozying up to dictators because he loves dictators because he wants to be one.
Yeah.
He is he's running the country like you don't run a country like a business. People think they want that, but when you work for a business, when your boss here at the radio station tells you what to do, it's not a democracy. You don't vote on it, okay?
Right.
You don't vote on it. And this is how he thinks things should be done. And it is, people, my friends, everybody is just so down over this. So down over this.
1,000%. Like, and everybody's like, everyone's a little on edge.
And on edge, yes.
Yeah.
How about you?
You can say, oh my gosh, try being in a place where you encounter folks, like a lot of people all the time. Like people coming into to the snack factory. It is just like people have kind of, they're on edge and they're not nice. People are not being nice to each other right now. They're weird. And of course there's a lot to be on edge about right now. Least of all is whether or not we have eggs.
Oh my God.
And it's an odd dynamic. It's very, I met up with a friend of mine this week. Mm-hmm. I was able to, I tried to fit in some sort of fun thing.
Good.
And I was met up with a friend that, my travel buddy, even though we live like 3 blocks apart, we haven't seen each other since November. And we're like, we got this time, let's go out and have some dinner. And it turned out to be a restaurant week too, which was like great. I'm like, save some money.
Was it the Andersonville restaurant week?
I think so. We were at Big Jones. Yeah. So it might have just been Andersonville. I think so. I stumbled upon it. I was like, oh, great. But I was having a hankering for some fried chicken.
Oh, that's comfort food. If
right?
There ever was some.
Girl, have you been to Big Jones?
Yes.
Their fried chicken is so.
I've had their fried chicken.
You need to go, and their brunch is fantastic.
Yeah,
sorry, here we are. So
I can never make for the last 13 years. I haven't made brunch.
In the neighborhood. So we we just sat there. We were just kind of just like glazed over. And I told her, I'm like, look, this is the thing that it's hard to really just put down into words like what I am feeling. And I think a lot of it is, and this sounds like such not a strong enough word, but I just feel dismay. I feel dismay. Mm-hmm. I feel like I am so mad and I am so sad that this is happening, that the people are being attacked, that there's just cruelty that is happening within our own country, let alone, and this was on Thursday night before whatever happened on Friday,
wow.
And she is a therapist.
She bet she's busy.
She is, but she's also trying, she's like, I can't take any
she
more.
Needs a therapist too.
Yeah. Well, most therapists do have a therapist or something. Like my sister, who is a priest, they often have another priest who is like an
sounding board.
Yeah, or just, something like that. And she's like, she's like, I can't take on any more new clients because I need time I need time for me, and she's like, most of the time people are spending their time talking about what's going on. And she's like, I don't want to hear about it. And then when they don't talk about it, she gets mad. She's like, why aren't you talking about that? It's like she understands the importance of what is happening right now, the weight of the moment. and she doesn't want to hear it, but also at the same time is like, we need to be talking about it.
Yeah.
I have so many friends who are just walking around, especially friends with trans kids who are walking around right now who are just, they're like, why are you just going on about your daily life? Don't you understand what's happening? Don't you understand what's happening? And that's kind of where I am. I vacillate in between the like wanting to scream at the top of my lungs, like, everybody, what's going on? And just be like, all right, just focus in, get really myopic, go get as small as you can to try to find the joy in what's happening in your world. Because it's just so much
And you
that
feel
is happening.
helpless. I mean, like, what's the plan? I mean, and people are, my friends, we had a dinner party last night. Our dear friends, Billy and Rosa, were over, and, we have a lot of fun, but we also are very engaged in what's going on in the world and very concerned. I mean, he's African American. His wife is mixed different ethnicities, and Kathy and I, being a gay couple, we're like, we're in the crosshairs here.
Yeah.
And what is the plan? I said, what is the plan? And everybody's complaining that the Democrats aren't doing enough. That's a whole nother, we could talk about that.
Yeah, but what do they want them to do?
What do they want them to do?
I mean, that's the
Exactly.
thing. Like,
that is a good question. Yes.
I mean, okay, like I know we're like, this is the progressive show, the progressive station and everything. And again, I'm fully aware of how biased MSNBC is. I just am. I know that. But I also feel that like the 1 hour that I listen to, that I've been listening to, is Rachel Maddow. And earlier this week, she had Democratic Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries on, and she was really tough on him.
I read that
She was really, really tough, and I was like, oh well. Oh, good for you. Like, it was, she was like, okay, so what are you doing? And it's like, well, we're talking about this. She's like, great, that's not working. What are you going to do? And like hearkening back to the civil rights movement where, peaceful, like civil disobedience, peaceful resistance and getting arrested and political figures. Why the name, oh gosh. Selma, he recently died.
Lewis.
Thank you. They're like that he would have been arrested. Like these people who keep going to the protests outside the Department of Education or whatever outside of these different agencies that are getting all these cuts. Like and they acquiesce and leave. They have a little photo op and then they leave. They're like, no, don't leave. Cause some good trouble. And but then I'm also like, okay, so then we have then we have this administration arresting Democrat officials. The spin that both sides will put on it, because we're in a place where nobody gets the correct information anymore.
No, I know.
We really aren't. And the spin that would happen with that, it's like these people are trying to take over, blah, 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 or like, I don't know. It's like, what more can they do? And that's, unless it comes to getting arrested. It's sadly
on the shoulders of the Republicans, because they hold the cards right now, as he likes to use that expression, the cards.
Yeah, well,
they hold the cards, and they are as spineless. I mean, Scott, what really, really saddened me almost as much as the actual meeting itself was seeing the clips of the nonpartisan welcome of Zelensky, and with Lindsey Graham and Marco Rubio and all these other Republicans that were like, rallying around him, shaking his hand. And then afterwards, these puppets were throwing him under the bus.
Going with the talking points.
With the Republican. And they've been, this morning I heard the congressman from Ohio rationalizing that he got what he deserved. How dare he come? Yes. This morning. How dare he come in there and try and talk about security guarantees when he hasn't signed the peace agreement with peace/mineral agreement with Trump, et cetera. And he should.
Well, because there was it feels like the one question that really set thing. Well, no, it was already been set off. But like the one question that really kind of popped in my head is like, what do we do if Russia doesn't?
But yeah,
stand by the peace deal.
But now, because I'm in office, he'll listen.
He'll listen to me. I'm like,
he's under the false impression that Putin actually respects Trump when he's playing him like a fiddle, as we all know.
Well, yeah, and all of these think pieces that have been coming out about about what happened on Friday and blah, 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 and all that good stuff. Nobody's talked about how, do you remember the reason why he was impeached the first time was he was trying to get quid pro quo from Zelensky?
Yeah.
So clearly he does not like this man.
Well, he sees him as somebody that he can impress his whatever Putin is holding over him. Putin has compromise on him. There is no question. There's no question. And what he did with Zelensky before was, again, years ago, was to impress Putin, to serve him. He is a Russian asset. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump is a Russian asset. That's the president that people, and again, I'm going to harken back to this. It's not just the people that voted for him that I'm really upset with. It's the 90 million that did not vote in this election. It is on you, folks. Is this what you wanted? Is this what you're happy with? Seeing our European allies worry that they can't count on us anymore, that democracy doesn't matter, that the people of Ukraine don't matter as much as mineral rights and appeasing Putin. It's just, this is where we're at. And we were warned by Hillary, we were warned by Joe Biden, we were warned by Kamala Harris, and people didn't pay attention because they didn't believe it.
Yeah, well, it could have been stopped too, on January 6th.
Could have been.
It could have been stopped.
And McConnell and all the rest that have enabled this guy to continue and kissed his ring and kissed his feet after, 1 minute they say it's unacceptable and the next minute they've fallen in line, just like any, king's subjects. And it's just disgusting.
Yeah. Look, there's we should probably take a break. This is going to be a longer conversation.
Take a deep breath.
Because there is something that's happening that happened in Iowa, and it was the first time that a state in the country has taken away civil rights from a group in Iowa, and I think this also kind of backs into because the way a Democratic senator from Iowa was going after the Republicans, I think is very key to what is happening here. So we're going to take a break. But before we do that, this part of Out Chicago is brought to you by Team Hochberg. Hey, attention listeners, financial planners, CPAs, and divorce attorneys. If you are wondering why your mortgage professional has not returned your calls, he's probably stressed out. Or it's probably because they are one of the over 165,000 mortgage professionals who didn't renew their license over the past 24 months. So if you're purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. In the past 24 months, while other companies have been shutting down and loan officers are not renewing their licenses, Team Hochberg has been adding loan officers, is stronger than ever, and would love to earn your business. So let's review. In the past 24 months, mortgage companies have closed and over 165,000 loan officers exited the mortgage business, while Team Hochberg has expanded and is stronger than ever. If you'd like to work with experienced mortgage professionals, call Team Hochberg now at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. The number again is 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061. We're going to take a quick break and we are going to be talking about calling out the GOP for the cowards that they are. So please stick around. You are listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT, Heartland Signal.
Welcome back. I'm writer and activist Stacey Anshin. You are listening to Out Chicago on WCPT 820.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller, just rolling along. It's a pretty day.
It is.
And sun's out.
Sun's out. It's warming up a little bit. Those are the positives.
Those are the positives. We're here. We're standing.
We're alive. We're healthy.
We're able to chat.
Mm-hmm.
So things are. Before we went to the break, we were just talking about how GOP is just basically rolling over. What's going on, and nobody is really holding them to account, to be accountable. This week, Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds signed into law a bill that removes gender identity as a protective group under the state's civil rights laws. So we're talking about trans and gender nonconforming people, non-binary folks, all those folks. And according to the Des Moines Register, the signing makes Iowa the first state in the country to take away civil rights from a group that is previously protected in law. Since The Iowa law has included gender identity since 2007, when a state had a Democratic governor and Democratic majorities in both legislative houses. And the Iowa Supreme Court affirmed in 2022 that discrimination against trans people was illegal in the state, but not anymore, because Kim Reynolds signed it into law. Now, we need more people like Iowa State Senator Tony Bisignano. I'm totally ruining his name.
I think he did fine.
Before the vote, I wish I could play this entire tirade. But it was long, and a little bit out of context. But the thing that he kept coming back to, he was talking about, there were protesters there. There were like 2,500 people that showed up at the Iowa Capitol to protest this thing. Again, we're talking about the trans community, which is 0.1% of the population. We're going after a very small majority of people who are just living their lives. And that's it. And before the vote, he said, these are quotes, he's like, these people aren't downstairs because they've got nothing else to do. Their life is on the line and should be taken seriously, talking about the 2,500 people who are protesting outside of the Capitol. You heard more people than I've ever seen in my political life, and you never speak about it. The only thing you can't wait to do is say the prayer in the morning, and so you need to follow what you say. Most of you don't even know somebody who's transgender. You don't even know them, but you hate them. Because you have to hate them because you cannot do what you're doing today if you didn't. He also went on, he's like, you never tell us why. You just fall in line. Like, why? What is it? What is it about these people, about this group of people that you hate so much?
I've never heard anybody really explain that on their side.
But on any issue, when it comes to, when it comes to anything, why? There is no why. It's like, well, just cause we don't like it. We don't like gay people. We don't like trans people. We don't like black people. We don't like fill in the blank. There's never any why. And they're always saying, but my tax dollars goes to things too. I've been paying taxes my entire life.
Yeah, we don't have kids and we pay taxes for schools. There's all kinds of things that
I pay
go
for
on in
schools,
life
I pay for libraries, I pay for everything. I pay for the military that I don't really want to. I just don't understand. Nobody will say why.
Well, sometimes they say because they don't want their kids competing against in school, like that. Like we've talked about, is not even. It's such a.
You are talking
issue.
about sports?
Yeah, sports.
Sports.
Yeah.
I mean, the 30 people, the 30 collegiate athletes who compete out of the 150,000.
But they bring it up, right or wrong. They bring it up. Wrongly, they bring it up.
But it's. I will say it till my dying day. Equal rights for others does not mean less rights for you.
Amen. That's so true. I wish these people, what is wrong with them? They're afraid of the unknown. It's a fear of something they don't even understand.
No, it really is. Let's go back to Charlotte. Let's go back to like the replacement fear.
Yeah.
The replacement theory. The fear that people are not, that white people will no longer be a majority and be in power. That is what it is. That's what it comes down to. And it's just.
That's really what it is. And ever since Barack Obama took the oath, they have been on a tear, a racist tear to make sure that the white man is the one that's always in control. And
yeah.
But,
and again, they do not say why.
Oh, we know why.
I know, yes, but I want them to say it. Again, like, which part of diversity, equity, and inclusion do you not like?
The part that isn't just about white men.
Right.
That's what's.
But they won't say it.
No, they won't. No, they won't.
And that's what we need to do. That's what needs to be coming out of there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it makes me sick. I look at these guys. I look at them sitting in the just tearing this poor man apart. Again, getting back to Zelensky on Friday, and it just sickens me. And it sickened most of America, I think. I don't care how they voted or didn't vote.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I would like to think so.
I mean, of course, there's those defending it, and the talking points are the talking points. They listen to their Fox Newses and their Newsmaxes and all of those things, and they get their information from a biased, lying, non-factual source, and they run with it. They run with it. But the thing about Friday, Scott, is it was on display for the world to see.
Which makes it even worse. Makes it even like I've never felt more ashamed about being an American than I was on Friday.
I have friends from Europe that were writing to me how disgusted and sad they were.
Like, it is just awful. And we have also, like, not only just on Friday, but earlier that last week, we sided, like, when I vote with the UN when it came to Ukraine, we sided with Russia, North Korea, and a whole slew of other dictators. We have switched sides. We are now part of the axis of evil that Reagan loved to talk about so much.
Our leader is Putin's puppet.
Because we do not. It is clear that our leadership in this country does not want a democratic country. They do not believe in democracy. They don't.
No matter what.
And they're not going to stand up with that. We have pissed off all of our allies. He's declared war on, like, how many people?
And how long is it going to take to repair this? He's just getting started.
I don't know. It feels like it is irreparable. It's going to be decades, at least. Decades. Before anything happens. So anyway, what do you think about the loveliness that's happening in the world? Give us a call, 773-763-9278. Let's go to the phone, talk to Denise in Chicago. Welcome, you're on Out Chicago.
Hi, Ellen.
Hi,
Scott.
Hello, Denise.
Welcome.
Welcome. Listen, this is my mantra. Fire Elon Musk. Fire Elon Musk. Fire Elon Musk. Follow Elon Musk. Follow.
Yep, Denise, I hear you, and I feel your pain on that one. The problem with fire Elon Musk is every time we ask what's he doing, they're like, well, he doesn't work there. They can't really tell us what he's actually doing because apparently he's not ahead of Doggy. Apparently he doesn't really have a position. So, we can try to fire him, but that ain't gonna happen. Are you kidding me? He's richer than Trump. Did you see that whole thing about, like, sucking on his toes?
Yeah, that little meme.
Did that happen this week? Was that this week?
Yeah, that was this week.
So much has happened this week. I mean, like, with what's going on. Denise, let's go back. I think Denise dropped for a second. Yeah. Denise, are you back there? All righty. I know you got very impassioned.
Yes, I am. Okay, here you have a sex offender in the orange man in the White House. Okay, trying to take an axe to everything.
We lost
Denise again. There we are.
But we get your message loud and clear, Denise. Yes, we have a predator in the White House who's taking an axe to everything, and it's sad to watch. It's sad to hear. We need to focus our energy, though, because what are we going to do? Are we going to march in the streets? I mean, what are we going to do?
There are some things there have been protests that have been happening in New York this week with some. After the whole Zelensky thing, after they tried to humiliate Zelensky.
And they put out a big Ukrainian flag out there, I saw.
Going on there, which I think is great to show that there is a public support here, like a support here in the country. Again, I don't want to get conspiratorial about this whole thing, but because this whole thing is like reading the tea leaves. We know that his mission is to come in and to try to do as much as possible, as quickly as possible, so that we are disoriented, so that we are, we can't figure out what's going on.
We can't focus on one problem.
But what I'm worried about, because they're coming after Social Security. Which is...
They say they're not because enough of their constituents are not... I mean, it's not a popular... No matter what your political affiliation... But nobody wants to see their Social Security go away.
No one does.
They're going after Medicaid and poor people, for sure.
They're going after Medicaid, but they're also moving over to Social Security. And I think because it is so unpopular... Because that notion, people will take to the streets, and that will be an excuse for Trump to use the military against.
That's my fear. We were talking last night.
I mean, I don't want to be, again,
the guardrails are off on what's right and what's wrong when it comes to the military right now, and you can't trust them to protect us and do the right thing if we are peaceful protesting. We saw an inkling of what he wanted to do when he didn't have the power he's amassed right now. When he was in, last time.
You mean when he shot
Washington.
gas and against American protesters and walked across the street and held a Bible upside down?
That
with military people.
And he had military people that were actually, still, smart people that were on the side of what's good.
They participated, and then afterwards they walked it back. But that's the thing; they had to walk it back.
Everybody's gonna participate, and there will be no walking back.
So that is the part of me that I'm like, I think it's great to show the world, because I think right now that is what we need to do. We need to show the world that a majority of Americans do not stand with Trump. That is what we have to show.
How do we do that?
And that's what I mean. I think like these giant like protests and those things are great for the world. They're not going to do anything here. If anything, I think it will give him an excuse to organize the military too.
I do too. I mean, you've heard that the Republicans are telling their Republican Congress people not to hold town halls because they're getting ugly, because they don't.
Oh, and those people too. How dare they? And I think I believe it was like Mike Johnson.
Yeah, it was Mike Johnson.
Yeah, Mike Johnson, who was like, these people are Democrats that are coming in there.
Yeah.
It's like, they're their constituents. Are you saying that because they are Democrats that they should not be listened to?
Right. If that's
concerns?
their representative, that's their representative, whether they voted for him or not.
Right. They have the right to be there. They are being represented by this person. So when they say they're just Democrats, it's like, whoa. They're Americans. They are Americans who are talking to their quote unquote duly elected official right over here. So, I mean, I think these town halls have been fantastic in the way that people have been coming up and trying to put all they do is they repeat these talking points, and they never say why. The GOP, they have lost all sorts of the moral compass.
Absolutely.
And they're
they
trying
have
to
zero moral compass.
And the country has lost its moral compass. There is so long American exceptionalism, if it ever even really existed. But I know we like to walk around and think that we are an exceptional country. As Reagan said, we were a shining city on a hill.
Yeah.
And now
the light's dimming.
Yeah, the light is off.
Yeah.
The light is off. We are not here. We're taking away people's rights. I mean, the same thing can be said about, when Roe v. Wade was overturned. They're removing rights now. Like, you can still go to different states and But there are people that we are actively taking away people's rights right now.
And if you're taking away rights, it's never right.
No.
Never.
It just boggles my mind. And again, what do we do?
That's the question.
That is the question.
My question is, what's the plan? I don't have an answer.
I mean, you've got Carville out there saying, just like roll over, let them do.
Let them hang themselves, give them enough rope. We are kind of doing that. I don't know if that's planned or just by default. As I've said before, I was hoping the day after the inauguration that Kamala and or Pete Buttigieg or of anybody else that's a leader in the Democratic Party would come out every single day and take them to task and get the news media's attention and just keep pointing it out. But that is not the tack that those people have decided to do. That they've clearly decided to just send you a text or an email and ask for some fundraising, to help the cause. But I'm not hearing the drumbeat out there from the Democrats. And now, again, are they plotting something? Are they meeting secretly with some Republicans that feel the same way? But what do they do? What can they do? Impeach him again?
Yeah. That's
really about it.
Yeah.
There's like two things that can happen to him. One of them is impeachment, and the other would be if he ate too many Big Macs, But I don't know what else the answer is. What other answers we have right now?
Yeah.
I'd love to
weird.
hear some. I still think we should, if people are marching in the streets, I think it's a chance we have to take. I think when the time is right that we should be demonstrating.
Oh, I think so as well. And I think people
Peaceful
are holding back.
demonstrating.
And I think a lot of people are just flat out exhausted. They're
Well,
just
yeah.
flat
Well, that's
out.
that's what they're trying to do. They're exhausting us we can't even, our heads are spinning by these executive orders, this cabinet that he's amassed, Elon Musk, the way he's treating Ukraine. It's like, where do you focus? There's just so much.
I know. That's why you got to pick an issue.
Yeah.
You have to pick an issue and focus in on that.
I think democracy in the free world is,
Right, but that's a very big issue.
it's a very big issue.
You got to go and bring it down smaller. You got to find the one thing that you are going to really take up for, and then you're going to have to.
Do you think so I read somewhere like, where's Obama, where's Bush, where's Clinton, should they be speaking out? But, nobody wants to step on anybody's toes. Consequently.
Well, but if they do speak out, what are they going to, again, what are they going to say that again, what's happened is this brainwashing machine that has happened. It is like, if they say anything like he's being bad and he's good, like they're just going to say, oh, of course he did this. And, they're just going to spin. It's all going to be spin. And then the echo chamber of what's happening. Then people will be like, oh, you're right. They're bad.
Maybe people that have perceived power coming out as opposed to Fox News and saying what's going on might get the attention of.
But who are those people that have perceived power right now?
Barack Obama.
Do you think that if Barack Obama came out in this climate with how many people who have just like they've taken off the white hoods, they're like, great, let me be racist. Just right to your face.
I know. I guess I'm an idealist.
I know. I agree, but it really is like it's quite a pickle.
I thought when he spoke at the Democratic convention, I'm like, are you listening, people? But you know who watched it? We watched it.
We watched it.
We watched it.
And
They did not. They
do you
did
know
not
who
watch
also watched it? Black women. And black women came out and they organized and they came out to vote and they did everything. And once again, they got pooped on.
They did.
And so black women are like, you know what? We're done. We're done being like helping you out.
Well, they
every
say that
time.
every time, but they always come to the rescue.
Because black women are smart.
They're the only group that wholeheartedly voted for Kamala Harris, because we still live in a misogynist, racist world, folks.
Yes,
and that's what Trump peddles. Whether he dog whistles it or just puts it right out there.
It's just right out there right now.
This is his little magic power of horribleness.
I mean, we tried everything. We tried something with that economic blackout day, but, there's no news covering that. Nothing ever happened. We don't know if anything happened, if it really took effect. The things that I've been seeing when it comes to that blackout day, like, great. It's a really great idea. Show corporations that, like, we don't want to, like, we're not supporting you with our dollars. So, but one day is not going to do it. No. And the ways that we're going to do it is if you delete all of your retail apps, which no one's going to do.
I know.
You're even making that face right. Get rid of Amazon. Screw Amazon. Go to the store. You can go to the store. You can pay cash. Right now, buy only things that are essential. Buy only things that are essential. Do not buy, a fire pit or whatever it is, these things that are happening. Like, you don't need it. Buy what you need, shop local, pay cash. If you really feel like this is what's going to happen, that we need to take a big stamp on an economic stamp and the economic blackout, that's the only way it's going to happen, because doing it one day is not going to do anything, because they look at quarterly reports. So it's not going to have a big effect. But what you need to do is you need to stop ordering from Amazon. You need to stop ordering from these big box stores. You need to support local businesses. You need to be paying in cash, because every time you use a credit card, that bank gets a percentage, like 3% from that retailer. Yeah. Along with the ridiculous interest if you don't pay it off right away.
I like paying cash, but how many places have you gone lately that say, sorry, I don't accept it? Small places.
Then you can find other places.
But these are some of the smaller businesses that don't accept it.
Like what? Like restaurants
like
or something?
bakeries and, little bakeries, little like
And then
coffee
talk
shops.
to them, and then if they are small
Yeah.
and they're a mom and pop joint, then talk to them and say, "Hey, I would really appreciate it if you took cash."
Yeah, it makes me sad every time they don't take it.
Well, but that if we want to make a change, if we want to feel some sort of economic change, one day blackout. I mean, I did it. I know you did it.
I did it.
Everybody
I know did it.
Everybody I know did it. There were
course.
lots of empty stores, whatever. But again, it's not going to do anything. We have become so lazy and so dependent on convenience, and we have dug ourselves into this hole. We have all done it. We've all dug ourselves in, and it's going to require some sacrifice. That is, if you really want things to
some sacrifice now compared to the sacrifice we might have if things continue to get worse.
Indeed. That is the only way that we're going to be able to hit things from the economic belt.
It's true.
We used to go out shopping.
Part of the problem is, I'll give you an example, and we got to go to break in because we have guests coming on. But I used to go to Radio Shack. It was around the corner from my house to get little, I need this and that. Those stores went away.
Yeah, I wonder why. Why did they go? Because of Amazon.
Right, but the point is, I can't find certain things any other place.
I bet you could.
Okay, we'll talk.
I believe in you.
All right.
I believe in you.
Okay,
and I believe in us. Hey, did you know? Just a reminder. Out Chicago has its very own podcast. There are actually two. I know full episodes and featured interviews. Just search for Out Chicago wherever you get your podcasts, or get the podcast links on our show page by visiting heartlandsignal.com/out-Chicago. Again, go to heartlandsignal.com/out-Chicago. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to celebrate women with Ruth Clark from the Artemis Singers. So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT.
I'm Amanda Civitello with Creating Iris. Welcome back to Out Chicago on WCPT.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ella Miller. We're just kind of rolling along with deep breaths. And thankfully, again, we need to just... I will say the future is female, and we always got to turn to the women.
Yes, we do.
And that's why we love the Artemis Singers, Chicago's lesbian feminist chorus. They are celebrating Women's History Month with a free concert at the Lincolnwood Library on March 9th. And joining us now from Artemis Singers is Ruth Clark. Ruth, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks very much, Scott and Ellen. Hi.
How are you doing? How are things going over at Artemis? You had a fab turnout for your Valentine's concert.
Yes, we had 300 people. And what was hilarious is that we were in this beautiful new space for us, Vandercook College of Music down in Bronzeville, this giant open space. And they were like, okay, we've got 200 chairs. And so we were seeing our ticket sales coming in, and our producer said, we got to get more chairs.
We need more chairs.
They rented 50 chairs, and then we got 15 more. So we had to have a chair czar to keep track of all of these chairs. We were selling standing room only tickets. It was great.
Amazing. Congratulations.
So what do you attribute it to? What do you attribute it to, Ruth? Just word getting out, or people?
I'm going to say that, you've been talking about these dark times, and there are lights of hope for LGBTQ plus folks and their allies. People are seeking and finding community. They're looking for solace. They're looking for organizing, for ways to concentrate our strength. And just speaking for our lesbian feminist chorus, it is alive and well and thriving. So we have had, and just a quick aside for those of you not familiar, your listeners who are not familiar with us.
Yeah, tell us about
Chicago's lesbian feminist chorus, Artemis Singers. We've been around since 1980, so this is like 45 years since the chorus started. And for years, like up to the pandemic, we had like maybe 25, 30 people in the chorus. And then when we were in lockdown, we kind of did our own little DEI examination, and we decided we wanted to really focus on being an anti-racist organization. We did some internal workshops to learn and grow and figure out were there things that we needed to do differently, and how can we attract a more diverse group of people. And when we came out of the pandemic, we started getting more and more people that were younger. We have a little bit more of a diverse membership now. And these people in their 20s and 30s they're all for it. They are like, it's the most enthusiastic group of people we've had in forever. Our rehearsals are like a giant party. I mean, sometimes we got to
a little too much of a party. Like, all right, everybody, we got work to do. We got work to do. Yeah. Well, Ruth, I think it goes back to what you were saying. In these times, people really need community and really find something that will bring not only themselves joy, but other people joy, like the audience.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So what's in store for Sunday afternoon with the Artemis Singers at the Lincolnwood Library?
Yeah, so we're doing, and it's actually just going to be a subset of us. That we now have about 55 people in the chorus. On Sunday, we're only going to have about 20 because it's a smaller space. Mm-hmm. And by the way, people do need it's a free concert, but people do need to register because they might run out of space. So there's a link on artemissingers.org, or you can just Google Lincolnwood Public Library. But so we're going to be singing a few songs that from our Valentine's concert, and then a few looking forward to our June Pride concert. But so we've sung this song for a while called Signs, which was written in 2017 after the Women's March. That was coincident with Trump's first inauguration.
Yep.
And it's this amazing piece that weaves together all of the signs that women and people carried during that. It's like, girls just want to have fundamental rights, and things like no people are illegal, and no humans are illegal.
Right.
But it is still so damn relevant.
Yeah, and I bet it's very empowering at this time to be singing that song as well.
Oh my gosh, yes. And then what we're whipping up to as a chorus is in our Pride concert, which is either going to be June 7th or 14th, we based the title on a song that was written by Chicagoan Paula Wolowitz. I don't know if you know her, Ellen, or Scott, but she sadly passed in 2018. But she wrote this song called Neo-Paganism. It was written back in the Reagan era. We had Reaganomics.
Right.
And it has a line in there: we are resisting the newest dark age with old witches' wisdom and goddesses' rage. So the concert is called Goddesses Rage, so it's like a call to action. So we're going to sing a couple of songs from that.
Yeah, sadly, that's relevant as ever, too. So here we go.
Oh, my gosh. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I just wanted to say also about, this concert we're doing Sunday is about Women's History Month. And, why do we need Women's History Month? Well, we do have, 1 month out of 12. Woo! We can celebrate women. But there's this tiny little poem that speaks to that, and it says, his story, history, my story, mystery. So it's like, what have women been up to for the decades and millennia? It's like people just don't know. It's not celebrated. So we want to celebrate women's voices, women's creativity, So Artemis only sings music that was written or arranged by women because so often those voices are not heard.
I know.
By the same token, yeah.
Well, thank God for Artemis singers because we need you more than ever, Ruth. And I'm sure you're going to have a great turnout. My God, it's coming up on the 9th, right?
That's next Sunday.
Yeah.
A week from
Sunday,
today.
2:00. Lincolnwood Public Library. We'd love to see people there.
Awesome.
Free concert.
And we always celebrate women and women's voices right here on Out Chicago and on WCPT. And we can't wait to, what a fabulous kickoff to Women's History Month. So head to the Lincolnwood Library on March 9th for Sunday afternoon with Artemis Singers. For more information on all things Artemis, go visit artemissingers.org. Ruth Clark, thank you so much for joining us today. Sing out, Louise,
My
is what I'm going to
pleasure.
say.
Thank you, Ruth.
And keep
Break a leg.
break all the legs.
Thanks.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we
Thank you.
come back, it is the second hour of Out Chicago right here on WCPT.
I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And welcome back to the second hour of Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller,
Yes,
rolling
indeed.
along. This has been a weird week. I was just talking in the break, so many people died.
I know.
What happened with
Roberta
Gene Hackman?
Flack, Gene
Roberta
Hackman.
Flack. Buster Poindexter.
David Johansen.
Thank you, David Johansen.
Yeah.
Angie Stone, who a lot of people don't know.
I honestly didn't know her. I listened to some of her music, and
just this past week, Jerry and I have been playing so much Angie Stone.
really?
She popped up in our
I don't know. Why don't know? Why don't I know?
I
her?
don't know because you know why?
Why?
Because she was an older black woman.
Well, I know Roberta Flack.
No. But when Roberta Flack, she wasn't an older person when she got her when she got her break. But when Angie Stone really kind of had her moment was in the late 90s, early 2000s with that neo soul movement that was happening, where we had Lauryn Hill, we had Erykah Badu, and we had other artists that have kind of tapered off. Her album Mahogany Soul is so good, and she was nominated for Grammy Awards because of that she's got an old school sound that she very, very a beautiful soulful alto voice. I loved her
She
so
sounded
much.
good, but she wasn't on my radar at all.
I know. Well, it's because but when she popped, she was in her 40s.
Okay, yeah.
For that, because she also started in the 80s, started with another group called The Sequence. Yes, I know some things.
I'm glad somebody knows all
I know,
about it.
and so but I didn't know her music early, and then she's kind of been a session singer. She was worked with Mary J. Blige. She was a singer-songwriter for a lot of people, and then she finally was I need to do this for myself. And when she was in her 40s, she stepped up and she made Mahogany Soul. She made a couple albums after. And
A lot of people loved her. I saw the love on my Facebook and social feeds. And I
know,
was wow.
she was incredible. So it's what? And then Roberta Flack.
Yeah, I didn't know she had ALS. I think it was ALS or one of those bad, horrible, sad diseases. But she lived into her 80s and iconic. The movie Play Misty for me. Last time ever I saw your face came from that movie, and we were kids.
The first time.
First time ever I saw your face. Yes, and that song played. Scott, you weren't around yet. You might have been a very small.
I was a small person when that happened. Yes,
but that song was everywhere.
It's because it's a good song.
Everywhere, beautiful
Killing
song.
Me Softly. Anyway, we can talk about that later. We'll do a little in memoriam at the end of the hour. That's what's going, because we do have some fabulous guests a little bit later on. Comedian Amy Sumter.
Yeah,
she is part of the Kates, which is an incredible comedy showcase. It's going to be their monthly showcase has returned. Thank goodness, because we all need it. At the Lincoln Lodge. She's going to be joining us in studio. But right now on the phone, American filmmaker Leo Monts takes a look at the housing crisis in Ireland in his new documentary, The Revolutionary Housing League. And joining us now is Leo Monts. Leo, welcome to the show.
Hello, Scott and Ellen. Good to be on the show.
Thank you so much for taking time out today to join us. I've read the bio and on the press release, but can you tell our listeners, how did this film come about?
Yes, so this was actually my independent trip to Ireland to spend 6 months in 2022. It was just after they had reopened the immigration programs for COVID. I had never done study abroad, so I just wanted to go over for a while. You know, I thought it was going to be a nice little trip, learn about my heritage. And upon the plane landing, I realized that I had arrived in one of the biggest housing crises in the world. Dublin was, and perhaps still is, the most expensive city in Europe to find housing. Worse than London, worse than Paris. But I struggled myself to find a place to stay. You know, I was living hostel to hostel for a month, and then I couldn't stop seeing the housing crisis everywhere, even once I did have a more stable place to stay. So I found this group that was taking direct action. They were called the Revolutionary Housing League, and they were addressing the problem as they saw it by housing their homeless neighbors, by breaking into vacant buildings, which was a bit of a controversial solution. But they were so outspoken with it, you would expect them to kind of be flying under the radar to like evade the law enforcement, but they were so outspoken with it on their social media. I mean, they had videos of them taking a buzzsaw to a vacant building. So it was so unusual that I had to document it. And now we are finishing up the documentary and organizing sneak peeks and that kind of thing.
Amazing. And so what do you think? I watched a rough cut of the documentary, and it's one of the things that led to explain to folks how this housing crisis has kind of come to be in Ireland.
Yeah, well, they didn't build enough houses.
Yeah, there we are.
Scott.
There we are.
No, but yeah, but that was caused by a whole ton of different factors. Like, for example, there are building regulations that say in a lot of Dublin you can't build over 5 stories. We have similarly restrictive regulations in America in a lot of places. There are what they call vulture funds as well in Ireland, as in America, that buy up housing stock to not house people, but to use as investments because they think that the price is going to go up. And also just the population of Ireland growing over that time has really squeezed not only poorer and working class people, but middle class people as well. It was the first place I had ever lived where middle class people had to really worry about housing. The statistic is something like 68% of 18 to 34-year-olds are still living with their parents because they can't find their own place.
And how does that equate with our issues here, for instance, in the Chicago area or any of the major cities?
Yeah, well, none of the major cities in America are a stranger to a housing crisis, and in an increasing way. Like, for example, my hometown of Indianapolis was recently rated as unaffordable for the first time by the federal bank.
Wow.
So we have all of the same problems, and I see, honestly, Dublin as a look into the future for American cities and what could happen if we don't build enough affordable housing and look after housing justice for the next few years.
Yeah, it was so funny. Not funny, but as you were talking about how the vulture programs are people buying these properties as investments because they think they're going to be going up, I think of the Airbnb situation here. There are so many places that are being held onto as, an Airbnb situation that could be going towards people living there as a permanent residence. The Airbnb is one of those conveniences that I don't know it's going to be paying off for us. I have friends who were in Asheville, North Carolina. We now know what's happened there. But rent there became so exorbitant because everything was an Airbnb, and people weren't able to afford rent. That is a huge, huge problem that is happening here in the U.S. And
they have the exact same problem in Ireland as well, by the way.
Yeah, all over the world. I mean,
but it's one of those things with great, go to a hotel. That is a pretty big situation for me personally that I'm like.
I have never stayed in an Airbnb.
Me either.
I have. I only stay in hotels.
I have, but it's through no fault of my own.
No.
So, but what was as you were working on this film, Leo, the Revolutionary Housing League, what was one of the biggest things that you learned during the process? Like, how long did you follow the Revolutionary Housing League. How long were you there to making this film? Was this just were you there on your visa for 6 months and then you're like, oh, I should be filming while I'm here? Like, was that the impetus?
That's exactly what happened. And I was only able to film with them for a couple months before the end of my visa and before they actually got evicted from the building that they were in. But in that time, I learned that that we can help each other out. And, I appreciated y'all's discussion earlier on the show about, like, we see all of these terrifying things around us, but what can we do? And whatever you think about the RHL's methods, I'm not saying that occupying buildings is the best solution to the housing crisis, but it shows what ordinary people can do when they organize. And I believe that's the answer to what we need to do right now, is organize. And if, say, people like the Democratic Party aren't going to organize for us, then we need to organize amongst ourselves. And it showed me the power of that because, I did see a lot of suffering and that kind of thing on the street, but I also saw a lot of community in these shelters and among these people who were struggling. An amazing amount of joy and community they got out of organizing for their own rights.
Yeah, at one point I believe you called it almost like I'm going to screw up exactly what your phrase was, but it was like it felt like a commune of sorts. It was, I believe, it was around the portion of the film where you were talking about there was a big music event, and the people that were there, where there was a shared responsibility of that. I'm totally screwing this up, Leo.
It felt more like an activist co-op.
Thank you.
Like
that's what it is. Activist co-op. Now,
do you think, Leo, that same model would work here in Chicago, for example, or in your hometown of Indianapolis?
Well, I would never advocate people breaking the law for any reason. Let me say that.
Right.
But there are other ways of providing people affordable housing that are mostly untried in America. So in the documentary, we talked to an economics expert, Dr. Yoda Deli. She's at University College Dublin, and she brings up the Vienna housing model, where they build public housing like we do in America, but people don't have to move out of it once they start earning more money. So they pay rent as a portion of their income, and people just keep living in these public housing units, these social housing units, that then they actually take care of because their lives improve. And it's not just for people at the bottom of the economic strata. So the entire community has a stake in looking after the affordable housing. And it's something like 75% of the population in Vienna lives in affordable housing. So really, long-term solution, I would say that more investment and other models like that Vienna model of affordable housing are what we need more of in the U.S.
And, with the current government not wanting to help anybody, I mean, excuse my ignorance, but how much public housing is being built these days in America?
That's a good question. I'm not an expert on housing, but I do know that there are projects underway. For example, a project by Mercy Housing that we're actually contributing to as part of the fundraiser for this documentary. It's not the best time to be trying to build public housing, but we need to keep talking and thinking about ways to move that forward.
Yeah, we absolutely need to keep it in the conversation. And as you said, so the film, the Revolutionary Housing League, you're still in the final editing process and all that stuff, but you do have an event coming up to raise money to finish the film and to raise awareness at the Irish American Heritage Center. Tell us a little bit more about Rock for a Right to Housing.
Yes, the fundraising party. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a band to have some live music. We're going to have a silent auction that helps support the film. We're going to have a sneak peek of the documentary, and the fundraiser is looking to raise $15K over the course of March to support editing, music composition, and distribution of this film. We want to be able to screen it at housing events. We want to make it available to anyone who wants to organize a screening for their community and make it an actual tool to have this conversation about housing, not just not just a piece of art to screen at film festivals or on YouTube. So, it should be fun. March 8th, Saturday night at 7 p.m., Rock for Right to Housing.
And where again is it happening?
At the Irish American Heritage Center.
Oh, my friend.
On Knox Avenue.
Yes. My friend Megan works there. Indiegogo. You also have an Indiegogo campaign going to try and help your project get off the ground. So people can also help you that way too, right, Leo?
That's right. Yeah, they don't have to be in person. And you can find all the details at my website at leomonts.com. That's LeoMonts. I just throw all my links on that website.
Nice.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for creating something that will hopefully get the conversation moving forward, not only in Ireland, but here in our own country, where we have to start looking at really just taking care of our fellow folks.
It is a huge problem.
Exactly.
And
that's what it's about, isn't it?
It's tough because I know a lot of buildings and developments, when they come up, they want to have they always pitch the neighborhood that they're going to have several of them that are going to be, for helping people with lower incomes. But those projects, I don't know, they seem to get stalled, or by the time they happen, they don't have as many of the units for the people that are, that they've promised. And I don't know what we can do about that, but your documentary will hopefully give people a plan and an idea and keep it front of mind so that we can keep these people and this need front of mind, because it's important. I mean, what's more important than having a place to live,
Exactly. Yeah. And that stigma is a big barrier, but things like the Vienna model of housing are partially trying to reduce that stigma around affordable housing.
I know. Well, you need to make sure that Tracy Bain comes along with her tiny houses project. And Hoozles. That's just my 2 cents. But the documentary is the Revolutionary Housing League. The event is Rock for a Right to Housing, which is this Saturday, March 8th, from 7 to 10 p.m. at the Irish American Heritage Center. As Leo said, you can learn more about the film, about the event, at LeoMonts, that's LeoMonts.com, or follow the campaign at RHLDoc on Instagram. Leo Monts, thank you for making art that changes people.
Yes.
And thank you for taking time out today. Best of luck this weekend and throughout this whole month. Raise that money.
Thank you, guys. Great to be on the show.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we've got comedian Amy Sumter in studio with us. So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT, Heartland Signal.
Hey, this is Mark Patton, and I'm from Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street, and you're listening to Out Chicago.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller. And we are so happy to have somebody on the studio with us.
So nice.
The Kates is a 17-year-old Chicago comedy showcase celebrating diverse, rebellious, and hilarious femme voices. And they are thrilled to announce their return as a monthly show at the Lincoln Lodge. And I'm so happy to have back in the studio right here a comedic genius, a dear friend, and also Beastie Boy enthusiast, Amy Sumter.
Hello, how are you?
I love you like a milkshake.
I love you like a milkshake.
I love you like a milkshake.
And I know Kelsey Huff really wanted to be here today. And so, Kelsey, we are crying, missing you.
I have one tear coming down my
tear.
left, single tear.
Demi
down
Moore
left cheek.
style.
There we are.
Demi
Moore. That's all.
Are you rooting for her tonight?
I am, but I have to admit, I don't remember who I voted for because it was so bad and I didn't do a good job of watching all the movies this year.
They were tough to.
Yeah, but it seemed like the woman who was in that one film.
Honora? No.
I loved that movie.
Amelia Perez?
No, the other one that I'm not here. No, it's
girl. Anyway,
I know. Perimenopause is that?
It's fine. Perimenopause. We'll dive into Oscars and all that stuff soon. But I'm just saying, I'm so happy. Kelsey Huff,
Yeah.
Kelsey Huff, who is one of the original members of the Kates. The two of you started.
She's the creator. Yes.
Yeah. She unfortunately had to fill in last minute at the Lincoln Lodge because she is that much of a duty first.
Duty first, but also teaching all those classes and sign up for a class at the Lincoln Lodge. What? not-for-profit organization. Support.
So I have to ask an obvious question, since she's not named Kate and you're not named Kate. Where does the name come from?
I just had to tell the story to my nephew this morning. That's so funny. So when we first started doing this 17 years ago, we really, Kelsey was really important to her that we, all women showcase, but also perform in places that you wouldn't traditionally see stand-up. So she had found this awesome bookstore called Kate the Great's Book Emporium. Unfortunately, it is now the Dice Dojo. It did go out of business. And every time I go to the Dice Dojo, was there yesterday, pay my respects. But because of that, when we finally found a space at the bookseller once upon a time, Kelsey was like, hey, we should call ourselves the Kates in honor of,
Kate
that
the Great.
bookstore.
Yeah.
Kate the Great.
Okay.
So hence why we are called the Kates. But also, it's just, it encompasses what we were all about, like women and them voices. But also now we are kind of opening it up to, hey, are you cool? Do you support women's rights?
Right.
Do you have a good agenda of, peace and joy and love in the world? Cool.
Yeah.
You can perform at the Kates.
Let me tell you, the Kates is one of my favorite shows on
you're wonderful.
No, I am wonderful. But I'm also a truth teller because it really is. When you go, it feels like it is a celebration. It is
Yes.
a party.
Yes.
You all, all of you do, because is it just you and Kelsey right now?
Yes.
Or, okay.
But with multiple performers
Right,
that we
right,
have,
right.
Guest performers.
But I
you're
mean,
the
but in
core.
terms of,
Yeah,
but the
okay.
thing is, even, because I first met all of you. I can't believe you've been doing this for 17 years.
17
I
It's
know.
so crazy.
years.
But when I met, it was like, oh, look at all these incredible women who are getting together, and you create such an inclusive, a wonderful vibe. We're like, let's all just celebrate and celebrate how goofy we all are.
Yes.
Yes.
And also, if you're funny, or if you have a funny story, or like at one point we had a clown, we had people who were doing performance art or even characters. So yes, it is a stand-up show, but it's also a variety show in a sense as well.
Yeah.
Of just like
Juggling and things.
Oh yeah, if you're funny and you can juggle, let's do it.
But you got to be funny.
You gotta be funny.
Got to tell jokes while you
Yeah,
juggle.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Or are you having a meltdown on stage? I'd watch it. No
Girl,
big deal.
I had a meltdown on stage. It was not cute. It was not cute.
Yeah, they're not cute.
They're not cute, but there we are.
Sometimes it happens.
I know.
It does.
I know. So how would you describe your comedy style?
Okay, so I would say that I am very I'm always going to be the butt of the joke. I'm never going to make fun of somebody else just because I hate roasts. I hate the
me too.
concept of it.
Yeah.
No, because also let's be real. Comedy is tragedy plus time. And that is comedy.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, there are some. Yes,
like
there
that.
are
I've heard that
definitely some
before.
stories.
You
Yeah,
haven't?
Oh, I
yeah.
love
Like
it.
something horrible can happen to you, but then you're telling some friends and someone giggles, and you're like, oh yeah, that is kind of
That-
funny.
as time,
when I had my
heals.
colonoscopy, and
At the time, not
you
funny,
know,
but time later. Yeah.
Exactly. And then you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, that was really hilarious when I thought I was going to break my toilet, like that was hilarious, But now, because you have that
Right.
time.
Yeah.
But I would say for me, it's, the things that I experience. Because again, as a writer, you should always talk about what you know.
Sure.
But I am just talking about my own experiences. I'm a lady who's going through perimenopause. I'm about to have my third colonoscopy because I had some butthole issues.
Oh, no.
But we're all good because that's why
good.
I'm going.
That's
So
right.
get
There
your
we go.
buttholes checked.
I know.
But also you should laugh because I feel like especially now we should have some joy. We have to, even though we're fighting the good fight, we also have to remember to joy
That's
is good
right.
too.
Yeah.
That's why artists are
Yeah.
so important right
Yes.
now, more important
Yes.
than ever.
And especially why comedy is so important right now.
Yeah.
Because let's laugh at some of the stuff because if we don't laugh about it, we're just gonna cry. And
That's
that's
right.
not fun.
Yeah.
Also, I have depression. No thank you. You know what I mean? So no thank you.
I can't deal with that.
Yeah, I can't deal with this all the time. So let's have an outlet for it. So where we can go somewhere where you are welcomed. It is a safe space, and we're gonna laugh and we're gonna have a great time. And the Lincoln Lodge is a very welcoming space.
And it's an incredible space too.
Yes.
Like it's it's basically like a little comedy complex.
And I know like
comedy womb.
Like this is a comedy womb. I love that.
Yeah.
Like, come on into the comedy womb. It's warm. Get a little cozy.
Be a new club.
Create
We'll open it up together.
A little life. That'd be great.
Yeah, and there's a bar. There are NA drinks. There's snacks, but there's also a bunch of restaurants in that area.
Yeah.
So you can go see the show, get some dinner afterwards, have some fun.
What's the exact address?
It is somewhere on
It's on Milwaukee and just north of Armitage.
Okay.
It's right across the street from the Concord Plaza.
Yes. Yeah. We'll look at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I was like, oof,
but it's
my
great
bad.
because they're like several different performing spaces
Yes.
in there. They also teach classes in
Yes.
comedy, which of course Kelsey had to.
Yes.
Kelsey Huff, your partner in crime with this.
And she is heavily involved. And also, I believe it is the longest running independent comedy club in the United States.
Yeah.
2040 North Milwaukee. So we're on Milwaukee right now. So you just keep going south
keep
and
going
you'll,
south.
you'll be there. Yeah.
Milwaukee, man, takes you on a journey.
What a
Journey.
street. What an avenue it is.
It is a journey.
It's a journey. It's an old Indian trail, and I love to go up and down it. Oh, yes. I should say native trail.
So
It's a native trail.
who
Yes.
are you? Who's on the show this month?
Oh, well, we have a gentleman on our show this month, and Kenny Metroff, and I'm very excited.
Oh, I love Kenny Metroff.
Yes.
I just saw him the other
And
day.
Kenny Mitchoff?
Metroff.
Metroff, yes.
Metroff.
And then I believe Scott Duff will also be gracing our stages
What?
soon.
Maybe soon. We have to talk.
We have to
Yes.
talk? Okay,
Yeah,
it's
but
gonna
not
happen.
this show. No.
They haven't
Yeah, I
inked
was
the
like,
deal
wait a
yet.
second, like,
Soon. No, soon.
They're in
Yes,
contract
there's some pressure.
talks.
Yes.
over
We're
there.
in contract negotiations.
Yes.
There we are. But who's so Kenny?
I'll be hosting, and I am terrible because this is usually where Kelsey shines. So
You're great at hosting.
I know. I'm excited to host, but forgetting the lineup. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Kelsey.
really?
But then that just means you have to
help
show up because again, we're always going to have great comics. It's always going to be a great time of just laughing, forgetting your woes, and it's a great way to end a week. Because Friday, let's be real, sometimes Fridays are rough. Because you're just like, I'm just working for the weekend. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you're like, come into the comedy womb.
Come into the comedy room.
Come into the comedy womb.
I'm going to trademark that right
Like
after I get off the
literally,
air.
you should. I would put that on a T-shirt and I would wear it every day.
So
Yeah.
I've known you for like 8 since Jesus was in
Yes.
diapers. How did you get your start in comedy?
Oh my gosh,
I don't think I ever knew.
Okay,
noticed.
so for me, I would wait tables, and I was just a weirdo from the get-go. But whenever I would wait tables, people would be like, "Oh my god, you should do Second City. Oh my god, do you do stand-up?" And I would get it a lot, and I was just like, "No." I just knew if I made someone laugh, like my tip would be better.
Yeah.
Like I could be an okay server, but if I like made people laugh.
Oh, hello.
Oh, for sure. Like my tips were always better than like the biggest salesperson at our restaurant.
Right.
So I went to school. I went to college to be an actor, but I was too afraid to like fully commit. And so I got my theater education degree. So I was going to be a drama teacher. But
Where'd
then
you go?
I went to Northern. NIU in the house. Go Huskies.
NIU, yeah.
And I cried like every day of my student teaching because I knew I was like, I love this. I love the kids. I love, teaching them about art and whatnot. But I knew I was like cutting my nose to spite my face. So a friend was just like, just move to the city, like just do it. So I moved to the city the weekend before 9/11 happened. You're welcome.
Yeah, right.
And I happened to meet Kelsey Huff in a Second City class, and we started a two-woman show. And then she was like, I do solo stuff, so I want to do a solo show. And then I was like, oh, that's scary. And then one day she's like, I'm going to do stand-up. Do you want to do it? And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And like the Kates, like that was...
Really?
I'd done a couple open mics, and one went okay and one was terrible, which is what an open mic is.
Yeah.
And then the Kates really was like, okay, like we're doing this. So then it was like, we're doing stand-up. So... all of a sudden I was doing stand-up again, booked on shows, and I was like, this is,
All right.
I like this. I like this a lot.
I like it a lot too.
I like it a lot.
I like it.
I know, but I love how like so many actors go to stand-up, and then so many stand-ups go to acting. It's,
That's, yeah.
but it's also like,
Well, that's like
art.
the music thing too. A lot of the actors want to be musicians.
Yes.
A lot of musicians want to be actors.
Exactly. But also it's
Pretty much
art.
something
Like
else.
everyone's kind of,
Doing their thing, yeah.
we're doing that comedy womb. We're all like marinating.
I think there's no job tougher than being a female comedian in and the entertainment world. And I say female because a woman, anybody presenting as a woman, because when you're out there on the road by yourself, as a woman, I lived with a stand-up comic for 5 years, and she'd call me from a hotel and be like, yeah, the guys from the club, because sometimes the club would be at the hotel. They're like pounding on my door right now. And then you're by yourself. It's not like in a band. It's not like being in a theater group.
Yeah.
It's not like being a guy on the road.
Yeah,
it's
you're by
being
yourself.
a woman by themselves.
Yes.
I am so in awe and respectful of female comedians because it's just the toughest entertainment job that there is out there.
I've been very
Number one.
fortunate, and I know that like the tide is changing. And it's been changing, but every once in a while the tide goes back and forth. You know what I'm saying? So I've been very lucky when I've been on the road, but it also has helped when I've brought like friends with me on the road.
Yeah,
so,
because it's a lonely existence.
And also just like walking out to your car after the show, or if there isn't a dressing room and then you have to use the same bathroom as everybody else, that's always hard. Like I did a show in Indiana 2 months ago now, and I run to do my nervous pee because it was 2 shows that night, and I ran into the bathroom and I heard them talking about me, and I instantly just ran out because I was
no, can't hear it.
I don't want to hear it.
I know,
I don't want to hear it.
Nope.
They were being nice, but I was like,
still...
this could change. You know what I mean?
She did that great, but then there was that one thing. I don't want to hear that.
I was like, I don't need your notes. No, thank you. Bye bye.
No, but
also,
but you're no stranger to criticism. You were on because you were on Last Comic Standing, as well, and did pretty well.
I made it. So they didn't.
Hey, that's right there.
I made it. So
better
that was
than
great.
what I did.
Hey man, I really hope they bring that show back. Like that was, it would be cool.
What year were you on?
Oh my God, it was a long time.
The show
It was like 2015. Yeah.
One of my friends did well. Michelle Ballin.
I don't know her.
Yeah, she did.
I'll have to
she
look
went
her
real
up.
far. Yeah.
Oh, awesome! They aired me in a lot of their clips.
Okay.
And then not so much on the show.
But good old reality television.
Yeah, they only picked 100 people, and I was one of the 100. So that's the way I choose to look at it.
That's how you have to look at it.
That's why I say hat tip to you. My high stepping, high kicking.
I know. I was high kicking in all the ads. So, but then a couple of friends got pictures of me on the TV. That was really sweet.
That was really cool.
I was like, oh, thank you.
That was your moment.
Yeah. It's like I once was in a television commercial.
Yes.
So, have you thought about trying to get into a sitcom or getting some acting?
Oh, I would love to do that.
Do you still actively try and go out for them, or is it hard?
Not actively, just because day job and juggling everything else. I'm also in my band. So, but sometimes it's hard, but that is always on the back burner. I did just have an audition though. A friend wrote a play and I auditioned, and that was just I haven't auditioned in so long.
All right.
It's just nice to do it,
Yeah.
And I didn't get it, but it was so much fun. I was like, oh, I missed this.
It's just getting your toe in the water.
Exactly.
So you're in a band. Scott tells me you're in a Beastie Boys cover band.
Yes.
Tell us
She's
about
crafty.
that.
We
She's
are
crafty.
Chicago's all-female Beastie Boy tribute band. We're going to be going to Sioux Falls, South Dakota,
I saw that.
in April.
That's where the Beastie Boys fans really are.
Exactly. So we are huge in Des Moines. We were just in Des Moines last month. It was majestic. We played Woolies. I love that place. And we are hoping to do some summer festivals this summer as well in Chicago.
And are you a singer? Do you play an instrument?
Oh, I'm a rapper.
The rapper.
Oh, you're a rapper.
Yeah. So I'm rapping MCA's part. So I'm MCA me.
So is it all recorded music that you play?
Oh yeah,
to?
it's tracks, and then we do drops, and our DJ Energy is magical, and anything that we find silly we use as drops. Did you guys know that McGruff, the crime-fighting dog, has an album, and there's a song on it called Crack and Cocaine? It is you have to look it up.
Who knew?
He's just crack and cocaine to get high. Actually, no, the song is called Cocaine and Crack, but that's not what he's singing. It's very
he's screwing up. McGruff the crime dog is not a very good performer.
Yeah, but I also
he's too busy fighting crime.
He's too busy. Yeah.
To remember the order of the words.
Yeah, so we played that as a drop a lot, and some people were like, "We don't understand this," but that was okay.
And
it was
they were
fun.
"It's our world."
Do you
it's
rap
fine.
in your comedy act ever?
Oh no,
never bring it in.
No.
Yeah, but let me tell you, if you get the chance to see She's Crafty, you run, don't walk.
Okay.
Yeah.
These ladies put on a show.
Oh yeah.
Do you play in the area?
Oh yeah, we play in Chicago all the
Yeah.
time. We do have a Chicago show.
When?
You should be finding out about the
It'll
summer.
coming up soon.
Okay.
She's crafty, CHI.com. We'll announce all the shows.
Love to see it.
Yeah, you needed to go check them out. They're super amazing, and I'm sure with all the summer festivals, they're coming up soon. So you'll have probably more information on that.
more information dropping soon.
There we are. But the Kates is coming up this coming Friday.
Yes, it'll be March 7th, and we'll be at the Lincoln Lodge first first Friday of the month, 7:30 show on Fridays. Get your tickets. You can go to the Lincoln Lodge website, lincolnlodge.com, and just check us out. And also, like, if just support that theater because it's amazing, and there's always different shows like every night of the week. So it's super fun.
It's a really great theater. It's a really great comedy theater. Great space to see comedy. You can also see folks like. There are so many people in Chicago where I'm like, I don't know why you're not bigger than you are because they're so wonderful. They're at the Lincoln Lodge.
Also get some bigger names as well, like Aparna Nancherla has performed there, Eddie Pepitone. So there's definitely some people, Beth Stelling. So you definitely want to check it out because it's just, And also thinking in Chicago, this is like the stepping stone to other places. So oftentimes you're going to see somebody when they're first starting out and then you're like, oh, I saw them in a little room that seats 40 people. Yeah, literally. Gave him a ride home. He's the nicest guy.
Nicest guy. Mateo Lane.
Oh my God,
everywhere.
nicest person. Yeah.
There we are.
Yeah.
But you want to make sure that you check out the Kates at the Lincoln Lodge on March 7th at 7:30. Can you stick around?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this. So excited. Hey, listen, we got to take a quick break. And when we come back, it is the final thrilling show-stopping moments about Chicago right here on WCPT.
Woo!
Yo!
Yo!
I'm Israel Wright with National Gay and Lesbian Sports Hall of Fame. Welcome back to Out Chicago on WCPT.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here along with Ella Miller. And we are joined in studio by comedian extraordinaire Amy Sumpter.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello. She is one half of the Kates, the fabulous producing organization that has a monthly show at the Lincoln Lodge. Go out, support local comedy. Their show's coming up on the 7th of March. Which is Friday. There's a little tiny critter walking across my computer. I don't know what it was, but it was like, I got it though.
Good.
I got it. There we are. Also, if you want to get it, this week on Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, Ken Mejia Beal and Elliot Serrano will be here filling in for Patty on Monday and Tuesday. She'll be broadcasting live from NOLA on Wednesday and Thursday, and then she'll be back home in Chicago with Greg Pallas joining her in studio, Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Central on WCPT AM 820, the Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. There we go. Okay, first, we have to do an in memoriam moment for things that are happening. So many people died this week. I still want to know what happened to Gene Hackman.
That it was weird.
It's so strange.
If it was a double suicide. I mean, something odd that both of them died like that.
Yeah,
I know.
And the dog.
And
the other dogs weren't.
In a closet.
The dog was in a closet in a crate. The other dogs there's a door they could go in and out, so they were able to go outside, from what I understood, to get food or drink.
Yeah. Did you hear his wife was like mummified personally?
Well, because she's just from being there.
From being
They were there for 9 days.
Yeah, they were.
That was old. When people say, because I went out to dinner with my friend on Thursday, and she's like, they were mummified. I'm like, wait, somebody went in and like did the whole scramble the brains and pulled the thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what?
No.
It was just like from the.
Also, it's so hot out there, and if they're like, what if the temperature was weird?
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's
also,
just
I listen to so
awful.
much true crime that I'm just like, I need more information. But it does also sound like it might have been carbon monoxide.
Yeah,
Well, no, they said
no.
They
that was ruled out.
Yeah, they ruled that out. I mean, pretty quickly.
Oh,
I'm wondering. Gene Hackman was like one of our great actors, but had he not died in this way, I don't know that he'd be getting quite as much attention as he's getting. I mean, often it's like.
Also, he was in his 90s.
95, yeah.
Yeah, like he was. It's not shocking that he died. I think it's more shocking that his wife. And
well,
the
she's in her
dog.
60s.
Yeah.
I mean, something crazy happened there. I don't know what. I mean, the pills laying around. We'll find out as they do the toxicology. But it was a sad thing to hear that they both passed away and their dog too.
Yeah. Also, the lead singer of the New York Dolls.
Yeah.
David Johansen.
David Johansen, also Buster Poindexter.
Oh, yes.
There he is.
Yes.
Alter ego.
His alter ego.
I got to see him a few times.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
For New York Dolls or kind of?
I saw him when I arrived in Amsterdam in 1978. He was playing that night at a club called the Paradiso, which was an old church that had been turned into a rock venue. And it was weird because they had literally, they had cases of glass cases with different hash and marijuana. And this is 1978, so
Right.
I was coming from the suburbs of Chicago. I'm
You're like,
"Wow."
what?
But I'm like, David Johansen's playing. Let's go see him. And we went, and so I felt like, wow, I'm just my first night in
Yeah,
Amsterdam.
totally.
I met this cool club, and there's ganja to be bought for, and David Johansen was like, it was cutting edge, man. 'cause
That's
it was,
awesome.
Yeah, so that was,
So
always
was
liked
it?
him.
So I guess it was kind of like his New York Dolls
It
era.
was post, well, it was 79, so I think it was like his era, but it was pre-Buster Poindexter,
Right.
but kind of in between. He was doing his own thing.
Yeah.
So
he
it was-
also was in Scrooged, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, he was
yeah.
the Ghost of Christmas Past, I
Yeah.
think, the taxi driver.
In his 70s, but sad to see him pass away.
Yeah, my uncle saw the New York Dolls, and he said that was the best concert he ever went to.
Wow, yeah, I
And-
never saw the New York Dolls in
Yeah,
their entirety.
and
Yeah.
I literally was like, my uncle just got so flippin' cool. You know what I
Right?
mean?
You're like,
hearing it. I was like,
whoa,
well,
all
Uncle
right.
Dennis saw the New York Dolls. That's
Who knew?
awesome. You know.
Come on.
So tonight is the big night for film.
so
It
excited.
is. It is
Oscar.
I personally think this year's movies are some among the least exciting that I have seen.
I would
in many,
agree.
many
I would
years.
kind of agree with you.
I would agree.
Yeah, they're good, but it's not like, oh, they're so great, I can't decide which one.
Oh my
I
God!
want
Last
to
year,
win.
because of Barbie and Oppenheimer,
Yeah.
and then like the "I'm Just Ken" song, like it was
Yeah,
amazing.
It was more exciting. This is like, you wanted to try and like some of these. I mean, they were fine,
Yeah.
but it's just
Well,
not that great.
I'm sad because I didn't go and see a lot of them.
Same.
You know.
I've seen most.
Did you see the Nickel Boys?
That
is the
one I
one that I
did
am
not
the
see.
most sad about not seeing.
I did
that
not-
one I know for sure I have to watch.
I
this
did
week.
not see Nickel Boys. I did not see Substance, and I did not see Dune Part 2. But I saw all the rest. I saw Nora, The Brutalist, Complete Unknown, Conclave, Amelia Perez,
I'm still here.
Wicked. You know what? I didn't see. That's the Brazilian one, isn't it?
No, I'm still here. Is the
The Dylan one.
No.
oh
it's-
no, that is the Brazilian.
Yeah, I didn't see the
Okay.
Brazilian one either. But I don't, as we all know, Amelia Perez was the front runner when it first was announced, and then they kind of fell like a lead balloon due to all the weird social, stuff
Yeah.
going on with the lead actress. So I guess that's fallen out of favor. It could be Conclave. Who knows?
Honestly, like I saw Conclave and I did really enjoy it, but it was a bunch of men.
you know what? I'd like to
talking,
see a
and I was
complete
like,
unknown.
yeah,
I would be happy with a complete unknown.
I'd be happy with Nora because Nora was so good.
I think people are going towards Honora.
I
same.
liked Nora, but it falls in that category of this is one of the best movies
Yes.
of the year. I mean, it's
Yes.
just like
It's a weird movie.
It's
but
a weird movie.
It was so funny, and it was so like darkly funny.
It was darkly
but it's
funny.
also there like you don't want to watch it with children, and
right. The sex
Yeah,
worker.
lots of
Yeah.
sexy parts.
Lots of sexy
bits.
parts. Lots of
sexy
bouncing parts.
Lots of bouncy bounce.
Yeah.
Actor-wise, The Brutalist, did not love that movie at all. But Adrian Brody is great. I would love to see Timothy Chalamet win for A Complete Unknown.
Oh.
He worked for years, he said, a couple of years, learning guitar, learning harmonica, learning the nuances of
Yeah.
Bob Dylan. And that's a movie I thoroughly enjoyed. That's a movie everybody I know that saw thoroughly
Yeah.
enjoyed. I can't say that about the other movies, that they thoroughly enjoyed every single one. And
I would
like-
say though, Hollywood is weird. Like sometimes you think that they're going to vote for one thing,
and then
they don't.
Well, because they cancel each other out.
Exactly. So Hollywood loves it when a beautiful woman gets ugly. So Demi is definitely.
I think Demi's gonna.
She may get
I think
it.
she's gonna get it.
But then there's also that chance of because that Brazilian movie I've heard wonderful things about, and people are like, "Oh my God, that woman's performance."
Right. So what you were talking about
still
for
here.
Best Actress,
Yes.
we've got Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Amelia Perez, who's not going to win probably because of all her political
The
views.
political stuff, yeah.
Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. Fernanda Torres is also in the history of the Academy Awards. There's been one other Brazilian actress who won Best Actress, and it was her mom.
Oh,
wow.
So
and that's
there's
another
a little.
thing.
They love a story.
They love a story.
They
They love a story.
Will
But
Mom be in the audience sitting next to her? or
No, I
is
think
her
Mom is passed.
Oh, I'm
It's
sorry.
been
R.I.P.
Yeah,
Mom.
I know. But to me, there's also. But to me,
Yeah.
there feels
Yeah.
like There's like a legacy that's going on here.
Yeah.
She. Here's the thing that I'm glad that she's having this moment right now. The Substance is one of the most wackadoodle movies you will ever see in your entire life. You will never forget it. You just won't.
I decided to forget it and not watch it.
All right. Well,
I was
a little nervous to watch it because of all the body dysmorphia stuff, and that is such a sensitive.
What
did you think? I still haven't seen it, but a friend of mine who does have ED was like, no, you have to see it. So I was like, okay, but I was also waiting to see it on Hulu or Apple or like,
Well, I was the weekend it came out, I ran to the theater because I'm like, wait, are you talking about Demi Moore in a movie about how we treat women so poorly and the crap that they have to go through on a daily basis to be beautiful and all that stuff? I actually talked about it in my act when I was starting out.
I love it.
You will never forget it. It's amazing. And I'm glad that she's having this moment right now where the younger folks are seeing Demi Moore because so many people don't remember she was the highest paid actor, period.
Yes.
Male, female, above,
right
beyond.
after when Ghost happened, it was just off the charts.
Cover of Vanity Fair, pregnant, nude.
News. Yeah. I mean, she was
G.I. Jane.
I was just gonna say G.I.
Jane. She Ghost. She was the striptease.
Yeah. I think it's her time.
She was the highest paid actor in Hollywood for a big chunk of time. And Hollywood loves a story, that she's been here, and she's been kind of racking up the awards. Her speech at the
Golden Globes.
At the Golden Globes.
Oh my God, that was wonderful.
It was just wonderful. Where she's like, for years, people kept telling me I'm just popcorn, and I'm not just popcorn, and it's like I can be here at the table.
Yeah. Also, like, why would you even say that out loud to somebody?
Because people say mean things to women.
I am just shocked sometimes at the lack of empathy that people have for others. And I understand, and I know that people have big opinions about if you're famous, you deserve whatever. And I'm like, no. This is their job. Just like you might drive a forklift, this person goes and like films.
Right.
Like you deserve working rights. They deserve working rights.
Right.
Like everybody should be safe and not talked down to and blah blah blah. Come on.
So I think Demi for sure.
I think Demi's gonna win and you're voting. You're pulling for Timothée Chalamet.
Yes, I am.
Here's the thing. He kind of annoys me.
Same.
His speech at the SAG Awards, where he's like,
Great.
I want to be one of the greats. I'm going to be one of the greats.
But how many people think that and never have the balls to say it?
Great. A
lot of people want to be among the greats.
And do you know who also says that? Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying.
I'm not turn off.
He's super young.
He's young.
He's so young.
And look at he's in 2 nominated movies, Dune 2 and like a complete unknown.
Yeah.
I mean, he is getting an amount of fame, at an early age, which we've seen before.
He is incredibly
Leo DiCaprio,
talented.
other actors over the years, but he's not perfect.
He is incredibly talented. Like I've said, he's really, really good. He's kind of like Lin-Manuel Miranda for me. We're like, I would hate to be trapped in an elevator with him.
All right.
But again, his talent is incredible. I was very skeptical about him in going into Dune because I'm like, who is this little tiny little willow boy who's supposed to be like the savior and everything? But I watched Dune 2. He was really good.
I didn't
and that movie it's so beautiful. It's stunning.
It is.
Stunning.
I've seen some clips. How about Best Supporting Actor? We've got Yura Borazov from Anora. He played the guy that's kind of a sympathetic henchman that's the short-haired.
He was so good looking.
But I think Kieran Culkin.
Kieran Culkin.
Kieran
he's
Culkin.
won all the
that
other
guy.
awards. He's gonna get. I mean, I loved Edward Norton in The Complete Unknown. He did a wonderful job with Pete Seeger. But
Kieran's been kicking it. Also, that's my nephew's name, so I got to vote
I
for
think Kieran for sure. How about Best Supporting Actress? I think
Zoe.
It's gonna be Zoe.
I'm with you. I think it's gonna be Zoe. Okay,
I think
we're
it's
all
gonna
in
be Zoe,
agreement.
and she really started embracing that Enye, which was not there before.
Ooh, okay.
Zoe Saldana.
So
I
then,
love
yeah.
it.
You know, it was
I
always
think
so.
she's
I
cool.
wonder if that was one of those studio things like, oh, you sound too ethnic. Let's say
Probably.
this. So I love it when
Well,
they're
there
like,
was
no, we're going to say my name the way my name is supposed to be said.
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
there was a time when they wouldn't let her like be on screen. You know, she was just doing all that voice acting for like Blue, like the Avatar and stuff like that. She'd pop up and be like, "Here I am in Star Trek."
Yeah.
And then we'd hear her voice.
Yeah.
But we never get to see her.
I like her. I've seen her on the, they're all doing the rounds on the late night shows, and I didn't really know that much about her, but I really like her as a person and as an actor. So I'd be happy with her.
Also, I love it if she's like, no, it's time to say my name the correct way.
Right.
Yeah.
Say my name.
Say my name. And I think next year is going to be wicked Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, because Ariana Grande was really good.
She's another one. She hosted Saturday Night Live in the fall. It really wasn't on my radar at all. But I'm like,
fan.
wow. But if you should see, did you see her in that Saturday Night? She did a great job.
She's super good at doing impressions of people, but I'm just
She's
not
a Broadway
fan
kid.
of her. Yeah,
I like her. I've gotten to like her
Cynthia
too.
all the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, she was a supporting actor in
Yes.
Cynthia's thing. So I think next year, when we
Next year,
finally get the rest of it,
they get another shot at it.
it's just like the Lord of the Rings thing, when they
Oh, you were
didn't
so
do it
right.
until the third movie, and then they got all the prizes.
Then they got the
once it's all
prizes.
done, so there we are. We have solved all of the world's
we have.
Okay,
art
so
problems.
makeup, for sure it's going to be the substance. It has to be the substance.
I would imagine. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Is it makeup and special effects, or is it just
I
makeup?
think it's just makeup.
Because oh no, like Dune was really good too. I mean,
Yeah.
they would have to do substance. I would
But
think.
like what they did to Demi Moore,
I
I'm
want
like,
the director. I want her to win.
oh,
That
would be amazing.
For the substance, she's
Coralie Fargier.
Fargier. She's
Fargier.
French.
She's
French. She's a French woman who shot the entire first half of the movie from the male gaze.
I love this.
You should check it out.
Okay.
It's a lot. Again, you will never forget it. It's a lot of a movie.
I let Kathy watch it for me.
There you go.
My wife. And yeah.
There you go.
Is it like Requiem for a Dream, where it's like the greatest movie you ever saw, but you're like, I never
You
want
want
to
to see
watch
it again? Yep.
Never.
Well, no.
Never,
I mean,
never,
I know
never.
people who have wanted to see it again. But anyway,
folks.
have fun at your Oscar parties tonight. That brings us to
Love
the end
it.
of the show. I want to thank all of our guests today: Ruth Clark, Leo Monts, and Amy Sumter. Don't forget the Cates is coming up this Friday, the 7th, at the Lincoln Lodge. Devin, thank you so much for running things so smoothly. Paul, you did a completely adequate job as always. Ellen Miller, welcome. Have fun tonight.
Thank you. Yes, I'm looking forward to being with my 94-year-old aunt. She's hosting a little Oscar
There
party.
you go. There you
I
go.
feel very fortunate.
And I am Scott Duff, and until next week, stay
Stay
proud.
proud.